The Author's Shelf.
The Author's Shelf.
The Author's Shelf. The Author's Shelf. It's about books and stuff.
Yes, we're back again. Good afternoon and welcome to the Author's Shelf. I'm Georgie Donaghy, and today we'll be chatting with the Children's and Young Adult Services Team Leader from Sutherland Library, Melinda McNaughton. I'd like to send a thank you to all those people who sent messages after my first show. I really appreciate your support, and I'm looking forward to bringing you interviews with authors and publishers and those who love the book industry here on the Author's Shelf, where we will bring you the stories beyond the page. All right, let's kick off today's show.
Your community, your station, 2SR.com.au.
During our last show, we announced a competition when we had Sue Whiting in as our guest. We were running a competition on our Facebook page. We asked you to tell us of what the little boy on the cover of Sue Whiting's latest book, A Swim in the Sea, was doing. We've drawn some winners, and they are Jen Graham and Sue Bosed. Although, Sue, your answer wasn't technically correct, we loved it and decided to give you a prize anyway. Congratulations, ladies. We'll be in touch to let you know how you can collect your prize. If you'd like to interact with us during the show, you can send us a message on Facebook, facebook.com/The Author's Shelf, or you can tweet us at The Author's Shelf. Now, I'd like to welcome today's guest, Melinda McNaughton. Melinda is the Children's and Young Adult Services Team Leader from Sutherland Library. Together with Sue Forshaw, they ensure when you visit the Sutherland Library with your children, they'll not only be entertained, but they'll always be able to find a book to suit your child. Melinda, welcome to the Author's Shelf.
Thanks, Georgie. Thanks for having me.
Okay, now, I'd like to throw a bit of a curly, well, not so much a curly one. I've just walked into the library, and let's pretend I've never been into a library before, because unfortunately there are a few people out there, some people who haven't. I found a book that I'd like to borrow, but I'm not sure how to go about it. What do I do?
Come and see one of our friendly staff at the desk. Now that can be at our main branch or one of the branches around the Shire. Basically, you just need to fill in an enrolment form. We need some identification with your name and address. We'll put your card details straight away, and you're ready to go. First time borrowing, you're allowed to borrow 3 items, and then once you've returned those, the limit does go up. Now, I will add that if you're at home before you come, you can actually register online. That's something new that we've just introduced to the library. So you can actually register online and start using our online services before you come in to visit the library. And then when you come in, we just verify your ID and you're right to go. So is it 6 weeks to borrow a book? It's 3 weeks.
3 weeks, okay. Yes. I can't get back to the library. It's close to 3 weeks. I want to renew the book. I love it. I can't get back in. Can I do that online as well?
You certainly can, as long as it's not overdue.
Okay. How many times can I renew
You can actually renew 3 times.
Oh, excellent.
Yes.
Great.
So as long as nobody else requires the item, you can keep reading it.
And you said I can actually place a book on hold online. I can do that online before I even come in.
You certainly can.
Excellent. Okay. What other services does the library offer?
Look, I think the focus of the library has changed over the last couple of years. So it's still the traditional borrowing a book, borrowing a DVD, etc. But you can come into the library now and be part of our community programs. Obviously, we've always held lots of things for children, but in the last couple of years, we've developed some great programs for adults to come in and come and read the newspapers. Come and have a chat to the staff. A lot of people do that. We can help you find something maybe that you haven't read before. And also show you our online services. I think that's the thing, that basically the library is open 24 hours a day now.
You actually have upstairs. What do you have upstairs? It's been a little while since I've up there. You've got old archived newspapers and things.
Yes.
I remember doing some.
Yes, we have
ancestry.
our local studies collection,
Right.
and our local studies librarian Helen McDonald does a fantastic job, and Chris looking after the material there and promoting what's there. Look, I go in there with excursion groups. Kids have come to the library, and I learn something every time I go in there. I actually love going in and looking at the old photos, and we've blown quite a lot up, and we show the children, and it's exciting to show them perhaps a photo of the school that they went to many years ago.
Yeah.
The old newspapers. the old pictorial that was around when I was a child.
I know. They're very good. You can scan them all on. You can look at it all online
Yes.
or on the computer system now. It's all very useful information.
And I think the fact that we have the newspapers, obviously, the Sydney Morning Herald going back to the 1800s when it first came into print. Obviously, we don't have the print versions, but we have lots on microfilm. So you can go back. People actually come in sometimes and photocopy, print off the front page of the day and the year that they were born.
Yeah, that's excellent. Very, very exciting, very useful information there. All right, you better tell us, what's the website address for the library?
All right, it's sutherlandshire.nsw.gov.au/library. But, hey, Google us. I think that's the easiest way to find us. And we actually find these days, working out how people find our website, most people just Google Sutherland Shire Libraries. And there we are, we pop up.
I Google the library. I have to say I just type in Sutherland Shire Library. So Google, or if you'd like that address again, stay tuned. We'll give you that at the end of the show. We'll take a short break and be back with today's guest, Melinda McNaughton from the Sutherland Library. You're listening to The Author's Shelf on 2SSR.
Hello, I'm Gloria Jeffersoni, and I'd love you to join me every week on Remember When and Reminiscing. Come with me on a nostalgic journey where yesterday's hits are today's memories on 2SSR FM.
A bushfire tip from the New South Wales Rural Fire Service.
If you live in a bushfire-prone area, now is a good time to prepare your property to protect it from the destruction a bushfire can cause. Reduce or remove undergrowth, clean all roof gutters, and have firefighting equipment on hand. Don't wait until there is a fire. Start preparing now and reduce the bushfire hazard on your property. Preparation and protection of your house is your responsibility, no one else's. Get FireWise. For more information, contact your local fire station.
99.7
2SSR FM.
Now it's time for the Author's Shelf book review. We spoke with Sue Whiting last time we were on about her book Portraits of Selena. I thought I'd read you the review from my Creative Kids Tales website. I had barely turned the first page before the book had me hypnotised and willing myself to read faster. Each page is infused with emotion, tragedy, and the promise of an unforgettable ride. I wasn't able to exhale until the last page. Bailey Anderson, her older sister Amelia, and younger brother Seth suddenly find their world turned upside down with the tragic death of their father. Bailey, who witnessed her father's accident, must take over from her mother, who has been emotionally crippled by the loss of her husband. The opening line of the book reads, "The day I turned 16 was the day we buried my father." Immediately you feel for this girl. I mean, imagine losing your father around the age when you need him most. Unable to cope with her old life and the constant reminder of her late husband, Kate moves her family from their Cronulla home to the uncertainty of the country, to a house filled with secrets and unanswered questions for almost 40 years. Bailey's room holds a valuable clue to the house's past, an old chest filled with memories, clothes, and more of Selena O'Malley than anyone else realises, and it consumes Bailey's existence. The move to Tallerwood does little to curb Amelia's self-destructive behaviour. Seth dances with death, and although Bailey is trying her best to make everything normal, nothing could be further from the truth. Before too long, Bailey herself is fighting to keep her identity and not be lost to the ghosts from the past. Oliver, his father Bob, Mother Annie and reclusive grandfather Bud are the Andersons' closest neighbours. Only a lake separates them. Just as everything seems hopeless, Gran, the family matriarch, arrives to pull them from their darkness. Between Bud's midnight wanderings, Amelia's disappearing acts, and Bailey's constant dizzy spells, the thought of romance is the furthest thing from her mind. And when she meets Oliver's dad, Bob, the chemistry is both electric and unnerving. Is she losing her mind? Past lives of Corinna are intertwined with the present, and all at the hands of Selena O'Malley, a soul taken too soon who is hell-bent on revenge and uses the only means she knows how to orchestrate it, Bailey Anderson. This book will not only appeal to the young adult reader, but is also well suited to the adult market. Sue's descriptive technique of the characters is flawless. It's an adventure, often dark, always spine-tingling, and without any fluff. Be prepared for a roller coaster ride of emotions before a climactic finish of volcanic proportions. Everything from cover to cover, with the journey in between, is captivating. I loved Portraits of Selena and know you will too. It's an intricate web of love, loss, manipulation, and so much more. We'll be right back I'm chatting with Melinda McNaughton, who is the Children's and Young Adult Services Team Leader from Sutherland Library. Wow, that is a bit of a mouthful, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Okay. Melinda, have you always had an interest in books?
Yes. I have memories of the old Miranda Library when it used to be in Westfield.
I love that library.
My parents used to take us on a Saturday morning, and I can remember going down towards the back where it was a little bit dark and it was a little bit creepy, but I can remember, would you believe it, reading little tiny Thomas the Tank Engine books.
Oh, really?
And grabbing those. And then as I got older, my father used to take my sister and I every second Friday up to the old Sutherland Library, which was in the council building at the time. And there I developed this love of being able to just explore the shelves and find my own books to read, all on my own. And I can remember when I moved around the corner, I could start reading and borrowing teen books. It was very exciting. And it's funny, I still have fond memories of doing that. And now, yes, reading is a part of my job, but I've always, you can ask anyone in my family, there's always a pile beside the bed, and now the iPad's loaded as well. So,
what about the computer? Have you got any on the computer as well?
No, just the iPad at the moment.
Oh, maybe next week you can let it off the computer. Okay. We recently celebrated Book Week.
Yes.
In Australia. How did the libraries around the Shire celebrate Book Week?
We actually start planning for Book Week when the shortlist comes out in April. This year I was actually asked to present at the New South Wales CBCA event on what my shortlist was, and I was really excited because Pennies for Hitler by Jackie French made it, and that was one of my shortlist books, as well as the Tishkin Silk, Kingdom of Silk series.
Yes.
The second last title was shortlisted for that this year as well, and that was on my shortlist. So we start then. The reason we start planning is we have developed quite a great relationship with the schools over the years, and have had many schools who like us to go out. So not just from Sutherland, but across all of the branches.
Mm-hmm.
We have quite an interactive program that we've put together. So this year we did have Peggy the Chook did make a few appearances and a few clucks and a few black feathers.
I was going to ask, yes, any dress-ups?
Yes. We dressed up as Peggy. Some of us were even known to dress up as a little girl with a terrible suitcase.
Oh, dear.
Etc.
Okay.
And we did actually speak to a high school this year, which I was really excited about. We visited a high school and spoke to all of Year 7 and highlighted our services as well as some of the shortlisted books. And what is nice is they actually do ask us to talk about some of the picture books because they do a study. That particular school do a study on picture books in Year 8. So it was really nice to actually talk about not just the story and read it, but actually how the pictures help make the story, etc. We also presented a pre-Book Week extravaganza to other libraries, so we have to be well prepared. So we were in June.
That's good.
So come August, we actually celebrate book weeks. We celebrate across 2 weeks because we can't fit all the schools in a week. And this year we saw over 10,000 children across the Sutherland Shire.
Wow, that's a lot of children and a lot of books.
Yes.
And a lot of dressing up clucking.
Yes. There was one cold day that I wish I actually had a Peggy onesie, but anyway, we left many black feathers around at many schools. But it was great, and for all the staff, although a little bit tiring, really a nice feeling to have children come up to you afterwards and say how much they enjoyed that and wanting to place holds on the books that you've talked about.
That's the best reward, I think.
Yes, definitely.
It says it all right there. What's the most popular children's book that's borrowed from the library or that's asked for at the library?
I think at the moment Andy Griffiths would be up there. So obviously the 39th Story Treehouse has just come out, and I noticed we've got quite a few holds on that.
Right.
But I think because the 13th Story Treehouse was just on at the Opera House, I actually took my children the other day. It was great. That's sort of got a bit of a resurgence. I think Diary of a Wimpy Kid series, and there's one due out very soon, so my son tells me. So
yes, right.
That's great. But we still get people asking for the classics, and I don't know whether that's coming from some of the schools, but I noticed in the holidays I was asked for a few times for Charlie and the Chocolate Pantry and Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator.
Okay.
And Roald Dahl books still being asked for.
I don't think they'll ever stop being asked for Roald Dahl.
I don't think so, no. And obviously when there's a movie out, so we've had to buy extra copies of Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters because that film's just been out. And I think anything that is similar, I find that if somebody says they've read Diary of a Wimpy Kid, what else is out there like that? So kids have started to pick up on Tom Gates and other humorous authors. So it's nice.
Okay. Do you obviously get lots of people coming in the library? Do you get people coming up to you who are emerging writers who want to be published and ask you what do they do? How do they get started?
I first of all would tell them that I'm no expert on that. I'm a reader and lover of books. I actually, when your website came about, Georgie,
thank you.
I actually started to refer people to your website and give them. But I usually refer them to publishers that I know, say, look, you can try, but I've listened to authors speak over the years and say how hard it is.
Very hard.
Really make sure that you've had your work critiqued and looked at. Try it on a young audience first.
Contact local writer centres,
etc.
Get involved with groups
and try that. But I, as I said, I don't profess to be an expert, and I'm not. But it's just guiding them to perhaps where they can go and offering to read their book if it's maybe something I might want to read.
Yep, exactly right. It is very hard out there. It's currently $12.29 and it's sitting at 27.6 around the Shire. You're listening to the Author's Shelf on 2SSR. Good afternoon.
Love your British football? Join me, Barry Hanson, Mickey Brock and Stuart Jones every Saturday night from 9 p.m. for British Football Watch on 2SSR 99.7 FM and streaming live around the world at www.2SSR.com.au. We'll have all the latest team news, transfers, gossip, special guests and competitions, including our weekly Premier League shirt giveaway. 5 Sports at Carringbar are proud sponsors of British Football Watch and 2SSR 99.7 FM, the voice of the Shire.
If you've just tuned in, I'm joined this afternoon by Melinda McNaughton from Sutherland Library. Melinda, what are some of your favourite children's books?
I would have to say one of my favourite authors is Jackie French.
We actually have Jackie coming up on a future show.
I'm very excited about that.
Shh, don't tell anyone.
And mainly because she has started writing these historical novels, and I find that, as I mentioned, Pennies for Hitler was one of my favourite shortlisted books for Book Week this year. And what grasped me about that is I felt I was part of that story. Without giving too much away, it is set in World War II, and there was a place where he was running away from the bombs dropping in London, and I felt like I was there. And when a writer can grab me like that, I'll read all of their books.
That, yeah.
Probably picture book wise, it's huge. I've just actually read Kiss by the Moon, Alison Lester's latest picture book, which is a lovely, touching baby book. One we'll probably share at rhyme time, I would say. It's very nice. Bob Graham has just done The Silver Button. So there's authors that always, and illustrators, when their new book's out, I'll always grab those. But I've actually just discovered an adult author. I do read adult books as well.
I was going to ask you about that.
A book called Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn.
Right.
A psychological thriller, I guess you could say. And it grabbed me that much that I'm now started to read her one that she wrote previously.
Okay.
And she's got another one, and that's just arrived. I have to admit that you can borrow up to 30 items from Sutherland Library, and I'm usually almost at that limit.
Wow.
But the other day I had about 8 books waiting for me to pick up that I'd placed on hold. So sometimes I have to put them back and write my little list of to go back to, because I kind of run out of time sometimes.
And so you have 30 books out, and you only have 3 weeks. Well, you can renew them, but
yes,
you must do a lot of reading.
I do.
You must constantly, you there standing there cooking dinner, stirring the dinner, spatula in one hand or spoon in one hand, book in the other?
I have been known to do that, although lately I've been trying not to.
I hope you don't have your iPad in your hand.
No. But what it tends to be probably, first thing in the morning if I wake up and I should be back asleep, but I can't, so I'll pick up a book. And usually before I go to bed, I actually find that quite well, or lunch break. lunch break's always a good time to sit down and read a bit of a novel. All my reading's done outside of work time because it's just too busy and don't have time. And I think I want to be able to, where I am, relaxing and taking in that story. Yeah.
Does the library offer people author talks? Do they have author talks where people can go along?
Yes, we do. Probably since our community programs really opened up, we actually have literature in the library talks and author talks. We've had actually last week we had Susan Duncan talking about her latest book, Gone Fishing. And I'd read the first book, The Briny Cafe, so I was a bit disappointed it wasn't a day I was at work, so I couldn't sneak around and watch. We've had the gentleman that did the Rosie Project, Graham Simpson, come and speak.
Right.
We also do have children's authors from time to time, but we find fitting that within our program, usually you want to do it in the school holidays. So last year we actually had Suzanne Gervais as part of National Year of Reading, and she was fantastic.
Yeah.
We've had Oliver Pomervan.
Yes.
Came, and I think he was entertaining. He put on a real
seen
show.
him a few times.
But I think what's great is watching them in action. You can sit there and read the words that they've put on paper and get caught up with that, but they're just amazing personalities in real life as well. And to capture an audience, I think, both via writing and then in person, is quite a talent.
Yes, very good. Great services at Sutherland Library. All right, we're going to take a short break and we'll be back shortly with Melinda McNaughton. Melinda, we've just had the school holidays. Some parents say school holidays are a dirty word. I have to say I say that from time to time. How do you keep the young ones happy when mums and dads bring them to the library? You take care of my children.
Well, they're not allowed to just leave them here. No. School holidays for us have become a very busy time and a very rewarding time in putting together programs that are interesting. This holidays we actually had a magic theme. And we offered our own program, which was Magical Fun, which involved stories, activities, a film and a craft, which is a Jack in the Box. To one of our libraries, our Sylvania library, we actually had 73 children turn up to that, and our staff member afterwards was a little worried. Yes. She was a little worried because she said she thinks they were perhaps expecting her to do lots of magic tricks. And we had a few amateur-type magic tricks, but she got through. She was a real trooper, which was fantastic. And I watched two of our staff do our activity at Sutherland to about 50 kids, and part of being a librarian, or particularly doing children's activities, is to dress up, and they did dress up and kept the children entertained. We also had a magic show performed by Joel Howlett, who's from the Newcastle area, and in the afternoon he ran a workshop, a juggling and magic workshop, and I'd have to say he was fantastic. We were actually booked out for that, so it was... We take bookings for school holiday activities 3 weeks before school holidays. That one was booked out within 3 days.
Wow, so it's important to book. You can't just turn up.
Our own activity you can just turn up to, but all of our paid activities where we might have a performer coming in, yes, you need to book in.
And you can find out what's coming up at the library on the website?
Yep, on our website. We have flyers in the library, but on our website, it always goes up 3 weeks before the school holidays. So we actually have regulars who now, depending on how many weeks there are in the term, probably at the start of week 8, say, have it in their diary to ring us and start booking in for our activities. I actually brought my 2 sons along to the magical show and the workshop, and for me, that was the best feedback. You know, I can sit there and say he was great. They could not wait till their father got home that night and they ran their own little magic show.
Right.
Which was fantastic, and they couldn't stop talking about it. So that's when I know something we've done has worked. We get a lot of regular people coming to the school holiday activities and a lot of people that have heard about what we do and book in, and they're actually now, you know, what are you doing next holidays? And that's really exciting.
That's really great feedback, isn't it?
We did invest also a couple of months ago. We have some funding from the tradies, which has been great to extend activities that we do, and we've actually purchased some Lego.
Oh, wonderful.
And so this holidays we held it at Sutherland and Sylvania, and I think next holidays it'll be across the board everywhere, and just had 15, 20 kids booked in. and they just built what they wanted to. And
it doesn't matter what age you are.
No.
Lego's great.
No. And we enjoyed, watching them and getting there and helping too, I have to
help
admit.
Finding the little individual green pieces.
Yes.
I need a green piece.
Yes. Yes. And it was great to actually ask them. They could tell us what we need more of. More boards, more this, more that, and that's great. So that's going to be an activity that we can offer for free.
Maybe you should get a Lego consultant.
Maybe. They'd probably have to be under a younger child. I think they know more than
a voluntary Lego consultant.
Perhaps, yes. We also run drawing workshops. We have Trevor Neville, who has moved down the coast now, but he's still coming up every school holidays and running our drawing workshops. We only charge $10 for those. We have kids coming back each holidays to learn something more from him, and also new kids coming in, and that's for the 7 to 12-year-old age group. Fantastic. He really can show the children that there is nothing you can do wrong, and I think that's good. You can draw whatever you like. Nothing's wrong. You can use your imagination and draw what you like.
That's the best kind of encouragement. Nothing. They can't do anything wrong if drawing, everyone just encourage them. Keep encouraging them and their talents will blossom.
Yes, definitely. We all have Trevor every holidays.
Excellent. Thanks for all that useful information. So if you're looking for somewhere cost effective to take your children during the school holidays and educational, and you never know, if they're not interested in books, they might just pick up a book while they're there.
Look, that's what's amazing is when the activities are being held, how much busier the library is. If we run the activity around away from our children's area, what's lovely is to see them flow back into the children's area after the activity. And look, if they don't pick up a book, they might pick up a DVD or a book to share. And it's great to walk around there and actually see kids sitting and parents reading to them. It's special. And we actually, would you believe it, put out a simple plain table with a noughts and crosses on it and the kids playing that.
Excellent. All right. If you have a reluctant reader, get along to Sutherland Library for an activity. And as I said, you never know. They might just stray away from the activity and pick up a book. We'd love to hear your comments and what you think about the show. Maybe there's something that you'd like us to cover. If so, you can email me, georgie@theauthorsshelf.com.au. I'm chatting with Melinda McNaughton. Welcome back. Can you tell me what's coming up at the library?
With school holidays now finished, school's back. So we start our story time and rhyme time baby program coming back this week. We've got for children in grades 3 to 6, Book and Some Bickies program coming up in a couple of weeks. For adults, we actually have a Bushrangers talk coming up at Cronulla Library this Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. We've also got the Taming Technology series, which has been really popular, and one of our staff, Max, is actually going to talk about the joys, pitfalls, fun, and unfun of online shopping, which will be great. And we've also got coming up at Sutherland Library on Tuesday the 15th of October, Paul Ham, an author, his book 1914, The Year the World Ended, so people can book online for that. And then getting closer to Christmas, we've actually got our summer reading club starting, and our theme nationally this year is called Investigate. So the school holiday activities for the children across the school holidays will be an Investigate theme.
Oh, very exciting.
Yeah, so hopefully some murder and mystery, perhaps mayhem, and we'll get lots of books out for the kids to read. But with the Summer Reading Club isn't just for children. We have a program run for 0 to 16-year-olds, then one run for teens, and the last couple of years we've actually had a Summer Reading Club for adults as well to take part. So it's just a time to relax, read as much as you can.
Especially summertime.
Yes, and perhaps win a little prize along the way.
Oh, very exciting, very exciting. Okay, are you an emerging children's author? Are you looking for somewhere to display your work? Why not visit my website, creativekidstales.com.au. There you'll find a complete publisher's listing, competition information, writing tips, and a whole lot more. It's a useful resource to assist you on your journey to publication. Well, it's almost time for us to say farewell. We hope you've enjoyed the show. I'm Georgie Donaghy, and I'll be back again on Sunday the 20th of October with guest Deborah Abella. In the meantime, please join us on facebook.com/The Author's Shelf or on Twitter @The Author's Shelf. Melinda, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
I hope you've enjoyed yourself. You have a good time?
I have, yes. Thank you.
Excellent. Now, if you have to ask yourself when was the last time you visited your local library, then it's been too long. Sutherland Shire Library, you can visit them at the library, online, or go to any library around the Shire, sutherlandshire.nsw.gov.au.